I never imagined I'd be the guy who'd take down the Deborah Jenkins, the self-appointed queen of Sunnyside Estates. But life is a funny way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. My name's Mike Wilson. I work for Child Protective Services, and about 6 months ago, I moved into what I thought would be a quiet, picture-perfect neighborhood. The kind of place where the grass was always trimmed just right. Kids rode bikes until sunset, and everyone waved as they passed. Well, almost everyone. Then there was Deborah Jenkins, known around here as Karen, the iron-fisted ruler of our HOA. The moment I moved in, she made it her mission to watch me like a hawk. My lawn, 1/2 inch too tall. My mailbox, not the approved shade of chestnut brown, Section 4, Paragraph 12. And when I left my trash bin visible for an hour after pickup, she slapped a warning notice on my door like it was a court summons. That was just her warm-up act. What happened next would become the talk of Sunnyside Estates for years. It was a brutal July Saturday, the kind of heat that makes the air shimmer and stick to your skin. By noon, it was 98 degrees, and stepping outside felt like walking into an oven. I'd just returned from the grocery store, unloading my bags, when I spotted Deborah striding across the street like a general on patrol. Clipboard in hand, chin high, that self-satisfied smirk plastered on her face. Trailing behind her was her son, Tommy, a quiet, sweet-looking boy of about 8, sweating and dragging his feet under the blazing sun. "Tommy, stay in the car," Deborah barked, tossing her keys onto the driver's seat. "Mommy just needs to talk to Mrs. Rodriguez about her unauthorized garden gnomes. I won't be long." Then, with a flick of her wrist, she double-clicked the key fob, locking him inside. I froze, milk jug in hand, watching her march up the Rodriguez driveway. Surely she didn't just. Maybe she left the air conditioning on. Maybe the engine was running. But as I listened, nothing. No hum. No cool air fogging the windows. Just the sound of cicadas buzzing in the oppressive heat. My stomach sank. I've seen too many cases like this in my line of work. Children left in cars just for a few minutes. And tragedy striking before the parents even realize what's happening. I walked toward the car, heart pounding. Through the window, Tommy's face was flushed bright red, his hair damp with sweat. He tugged weakly at the handle. "Hey, buddy," I said gently, leaning down. "You okay in there?" He shook his head. "It's really hot," he said, his voice barely audible through the glass. "Mom said I have to stay here." I forced a calm smile. "Okay, I'm going to go talk to your mom. All right? Hang tight." Deborah was mid-lecture in Mrs. Rodriguez's yard, pointing at a couple of harmless gnomes by a fountain like they were a federal crime. Before she could launch into her next rule citation, I called out, "Mrs. Jenkins, can I speak with you for a moment?" Her eyes narrowed instantly. "Mr. Wilson, if this is about your unapproved bird feeder, I've already documented it. Expect a notice Monday." "Actually," I said evenly, "this is about your son. You've locked him in your car. It's nearly 100 degrees out." She frowned, visibly irritated. "He's fine. I left him with his tablet. I'll only be a few minutes." The inside of that car could hit 120 degrees within minutes. Your son is already showing signs of distress. Her jaw tightened. "Are you seriously trying to tell me how to raise my child? Who do you think you are?" I looked her straight in the eye. "I'm a Child Protective Services worker, and if you don't unlock that car right now, I'll be legally obligated to intervene." For a moment, she faltered. I saw fear flicker across her face, but pride quickly buried it. "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "I know what's best for my child. Mind your own business." That word, authority, was her poison. She believed her HOA presidency gave her power over everyone, even her son. "Mrs. Jenkins," I said quietly, "if you don't unlock that car now, I'm calling 911. Her face turned crimson. "You wouldn't dare. I could find dozens of violations at your house. You're finished here." I didn't respond. I just pulled out my phone and dialed. When the dispatcher answered, I spoke calmly. "Yes, I'm reporting a child locked in a car. The mother is refusing to unlock it. The address is 42 Sunnyside Lane." Deborah's fury cracked the moment she realized I wasn't bluffing. "Fine. she shouted, fumbling with her keys. "I'm unlocking it right now. You happy?" The locks clicked. I hung up, letting her know officers were still en route, as protocol required. By now, half the neighborhood had gathered on their lawns. Mrs. Rodriguez stood wide-eyed, her gnomes forgotten. Mr. Peterson jogged over, concern written across his face. I opened the car door. Tommy stumbled out, his face beet red, his little body drenched in sweat. It was really hot in there. He gasped, gulping the humid air. "I know, buddy," I said softly, handing him a bottle of water from my groceries. "You're safe now." Deborah followed, ranting at the top of her lungs. "This is completely unnecessary. He was fine. You're overreacting, trying to turn the neighborhood against me." I didn't answer. I just focused on Tommy as he sipped his water, trembling slightly. The faint sound of sirens began to grow louder in the distance. And for the first time since I'd moved to Sunnyside, I saw fear, not control, in Deborah's eyes. The sirens echoed through Sunnyside Estates, slicing through the summer heat. 2 patrol cars pulled up, lights flashing. Officers stepped out, scanning the small crowd that had gathered. Deborah's bravado was cracking fast, but she still tried to stand tall, clutching her clipboard like it could shield her. "Officers," she began, voice high-pitched and brittle. "This man is harassing me. I'm the HOA President, and his—" One of the officers interrupted calmly. "We're here about a report of a child left in a locked vehicle. Is that correct?" "That's ridiculous," she snapped. "My son was fine. I was gone for 5 minutes." The other officer crouched by the car window and checked it with a digital thermometer. His expression hardened. "Interior temperature is reading 132 degrees, he said quietly. "That's after the doors have been open for several minutes." Deborah froze. The color drained from her face. The officer continued, "We need to ask you some questions." While they spoke, I knelt beside Tommy on the curb, offering him another drink. He looked up at me shyly. "She does that sometimes," he whispered, "when she talks to people about rules. I just wait." I nodded, heart sinking. "Not anymore, kiddo," I said softly. Minutes later, the officers called in to their sergeant. When they returned, their expressions were firm. "Mrs. Jenkins," one said, "based on witness statements and the evidence, we're placing you under arrest for child endangerment." The neighborhood fell silent. "Arrest?" Deborah choked, her voice trembling. "Do you have any idea who I am? I'm the president of this community." The officer didn't flinch. "Turn around and place your hands behind your back." As the cuffs clicked, a collective gasp rippled through the watching neighbors. Mrs. Rodriguez's teenage son was already recording on his phone. Mr. Peterson muttered under his breath, "About time." Deborah's voice cracked. "This is a misunderstanding. Tell them, Mike, tell them I'm a good mother." But no one spoke up. Not one person came to her defense. For years, she'd ruled through fear, threatening fines, citations, and shaming people for the smallest infractions. Now, the same neighbors she tormented just watched as her empire crumbled. Her clipboard slipped from her hand, clattering onto the pavement. For a moment, she stared at it, the symbol of her control, before being led to the patrol car. Tommy was gently guided into a CPS vehicle by my colleague, Sarah. She gave me a knowing nod as they drove off. 3 days later, an emergency HOA meeting was held. The footage of Deborah's arrest had gone viral locally, neighbors sharing it, news crews running the story. The board voted unanimously to remove her as president. The following week, she stood in court, her posture smaller, her face pale, as the judge read the charges. Child endangerment, a class A misdemeanor carrying up to a year in jail and a $4,000 fine. She whispered something I'll never forget. But I was just following the rules. And with that, the gavel fell. Deborah Karen Jenkins, the self-proclaimed guardian of perfection, was gone. And for the first time since I'd moved in, Sunnyside Estates finally felt like a neighborhood again.